quilter, have you ever walked into your sewing space, looked at your fabric, maybe even turned on your machine and just felt, meh, like the spark just isn't there? No matter how hard you wanted it to be, maybe you finally have time on your calendar and it's just, meh. If that's you, first of all, you are not alone. Every quilter goes through this phase at some point. And today we're going to talk about how to get that spark back. Hey there, friend. Welcome to Loose Threads and Stitches, the podcast where we chat all things quilting, creativity, and life. I'm Christen from IC Stars Quilting, and I truly believe that quilting should bring you joy, not stress. Okay, that's what we're after, right? We want joy, we want fun. You know, whether you're a seasoned quilter or you're just getting your toes wet into this wonderful world. These episodes are designed like a cozy chat with a friend to keep you inspired and motivated. Today's episode is all about getting your quilting mojo back. If you've been feeling uninspired, overwhelmed, or just kind of stuck when it comes to your project, you know, not a lot of spark left in you, I've got some simple, no pressure ways to help you fall back in love with quilting again. So grab your favorite drink, curl up in your favorite quilt or your favorite chair, your favorite corner of the couch, whatever it is, and let's dive in. Okay, so before we fix everything, let's talk about why that dimming of your spark happens in the first place. Because I promise you that losing your creative spark doesn't mean that you're not a real quilter. It doesn't mean that you're losing interest forever, and it's just part of the creative cycle, right? So it's totally normal, right? And I want to share with you some of the biggest reasons that quilters will hit a slump. Now, this can apply to quilters, it can apply to artists, it can apply to other creative aspects as well, right? So one of the things that can just kind of guide you into that slump is an overwhelm in general, but possibly also an overwhelm from too many UFOs. And we talked about that on the last episode and how you can kind of get more comfortable with that number. But too many projects that are staring you in the face can make you freeze up instead of dive in. And what it really comes down to is decision fatigue. And that is a real thing. And it's almost like you could start on this project, but you have a lot of other things that you need to decide prior to starting on that project. And if you don't do it right, you're going to feel like you didn't get any progress made, or you're going to mess it up and you don't really know quite what you want to do with that. It gets to be overwhelm is what happens. And, you know, decision fatigue is a real bummer, y'all. It really is. Another thing that can really take away that spark is perfection paralysis. Ever feel like if it's not perfect, then why even bother? This has been a lifetime work in progress for me. And yeah, that one can sneak up on you, even if you're working at it. So, you know, quilting, it's not about perfection, right? It's not about perfection. There are some amazing quilters out there. And if you judge your quilts that you work on as a beginner quilter up next to the ones that are showing in the, you know, national shows and winning awards and all of that, I mean, that's enough to just make you put up your sewing needle and never take it out again, right? So you need to get comfortable with what is your best and what it is that you love about quilting. Stress and just regular life exhaustion can be a bummer too. When life is busy, creative hobbies often take a back seat. But, you know, quilting to me should be the stress reliever, not another thing on your to-do list that you just have to get done. It shouldn't feel like a chore, right? The last thing that I want to share is the comparison trap. You know, social media is great for inspiration. I could scroll Pinterest for hours finding all of these amazing quilts, but sometimes it can make you feel like you're not good enough because they got the perfect angle. And, you know, I love social media and I hate social media, but trust me, the ones that you see on social media, the quilters that you see out there and the ones that you admire, they have UFOs. They totally use seam rippers too. Okay. It's just a part of the quilting process, and it's something that, you know, kind of humanizes us all. But, you know, remember that what you're seeing on social media is just a small portion of the big picture, right? Routine is another factor when it comes to the loss of that inspirational spark. Like if you are doing the same types of projects over and over and over again, it can make you feel stale. Just like, it's the same thing over and over again. There's nothing new. There's nothing challenging about it. I would say that creativity really, really thrives on variety. You got to throw something in there every once in a while so it feels like you're learning something. It feels like you're really doing something amazing and that you are topping yourself every single time you work on something. There can also be really good comfort in doing the same thing over and over again if that's what you need in that point. But if you're at the point where you are not inspired anymore, it's time to shake things up. Okay, so let's talk about solutions. We talked about the problems. How do we actually break the slump and start loving your projects again? Start enjoying that creativity. Start feeling that like excitement down in the bottom of your gut when you're like, oh my gosh, this quilt's gorgeous. Could I actually make this quilt, right? What I want you to do is to start small. Give yourself a quick win, because if you go off and you buy $400 quilt kit that has 1,000,000 tiny pieces in it, that's not going to be the thing to pick you up. Believe me, I've done that. It's not going to be the thing to like cure your lack of spark, right? Instead of tackling like a giant, big, overwhelming project, pick something small, a mug rug, a pillow, a single quilt block that you've been looking at. Just finishing something can remind you why you love to quilt. Changing up your sewing space can be a really big help too. Sometimes just a simple change of scenery makes the world of a difference in your life, right? Move your machine, take it over by the window. If your sewing room is really, really messy, take your machine and go put it in the dining room so you have some room to work, right? Take your hand stitching outside, or you can totally rearrange your sewing space. But, again, go back to that first one where you start small, right? Don't just decide that like completely renovating your house is going to cure it, okay? Just do something to just shake up the scenery a little bit. And another thing that you can do is do a, what I like to call just like a play project where it's no pressure. This could even be improv quilting if you are interested in that. But I want you to give yourself permission to just play. There's no pattern, no strict rules. Just grab some fabric, start sewing, and see what happens. Improv is really, really fun for this. But if you're not into improv, just start mixing your scraps together and sew your own jelly roll strips, okay? So that you just have these long, long lines of beautiful scraps, and then you can make a jelly roll quilt out of it. And jelly roll quilts are great because you don't get to control a lot of things on that jelly roll quilt, right? Like you can control the size of the pieces, but you don't get to control like where they overlap in the end. And I love those because if you struggle with control, that's a good one to make you realize that you're not in control. Okay, so with all of that in mind, I want to do a little challenge together, just you and me. Next time you go into your sewing space, I want you to close your eyes. I want you to go over to your fabric stash, and I want you to pick 3 fabrics at random. You could do this with fat quarters too if you want to do this like on a smaller scale. And I want you to challenge yourself to make something with them. No second guessing. If all of a sudden you think about like half square triangles, play with that. That is a really good one too, because half square triangles are easy and quick to make, but then you can turn those around and change them into all kinds of different patterns with using those half square triangles. So it's a fun way to break out of the overthinking and just create, because it brings you joy. No other big agenda or anything like that. It just brings you joy. Some other ideas that can kind of shake things up for you is to sign up for a mystery quilt challenge. I would say caution with that one, because mystery quilt doesn't necessarily mean that it's of your style, but if it is from a instructor that you really like and you really trust and you already like their style, then signing up for a mystery quilt challenge with them it's a good thing, right? You can make a mini quilt using only scraps. That's another one. And that's something that like most of us could do like now, right? Just go grab your scrap pieces and start making something and, see what you create. It's a no pressure project. And you could also try picking a color that you never use and make a quilt block with it. Push yourself out of that comfort zone. Sometimes we just get too comfort and we just don't quite know how to break out of that box, how to break out of that normal little space that we're in. But when you push yourself out of that comfort zone, that's when things start to change and you start to learn things new, and you learn things about yourself too. So I got a great question from a quilter recently, and I wanted to take it and discuss it on here because I think it could be of educational use for all of us, honestly, no matter what level you're at. And they asked me, how do I stop overthinking fabric choices and just start sewing? Whew. Right? Like that is a skill that can be taught, and there's like a specific mathematical and like, you know, artistry of like the color palette and why colors go together and all of that. Some people have that ingrained in their body and some people don't. Okay, so it can be taught. Not everybody has it, but my key advice in this is that sometimes, you know, when we're designing a quilt, we get so caught up in picking the perfect fabric that we don't even start. That's that perfection paralysis that's creeping in. And, you know, here's the truth when it comes to quilting. There's no such thing as a wrong fabric choice. There are ones that would look better, and I wouldn't say absolutely that Halloween fabric goes perfect with my Easter quilt, you know, but if you love the color, then it's the right choice. And the way that the fabric lines are designed now with the little color blocks at the bottom of the selvage, that's a good way to see exactly how you can match up and pull those colors from other pieces of fabric and other colors in to match your original focal piece. You can also try shopping within the same line because, again, they're designed that way so that you have this nice, cohesive, gorgeous colors that all go together. You know, if you're not at the store and you're shopping your own stash, you can try giving yourself a time limit. Set a timer for like 5 minutes. Take a big deep breath, pick your fabrics, and commit to them. If that's not your jam and you're still stuck, you can start with pre-cut bundles. Those are already done for you, right? I love pre-cuts. The color coordination is just, it's there, it's done. You just have to pick a pattern that works with a pre-cut fabric bundle and you get to sewing right away, right? So that can also be a really good way to just skip that step and move into it. I'm going to go ahead and put a link down in the description box down below this so that you can check out a website that I really, really love for pre-cut fabrics and for pre-cut quilt kits as well. If you don't even want to pick the pattern, you just want to pick like, you know, yes, I want one of those and one of those, and I want to make that quilt, and that's how you want to do it because it's easy for you. The Fabric Hut is an amazing small company that really cares about their customers, and they have amazing designs that I absolutely love as far as like quilt patterns and pre-cut fabrics and all of that. So go ahead, go check out their site. I'm putting that link underneath this so you can check them out. So today's been fun. I hope that this chat helped you feel a little bit less stuck and a little bit more inspired. You know, if you've ever lost your quilting spark, know that like I know how you feel, and it honestly kind of sucks because, you know, you lost a light in you for something that you used to love. And, you know, if that happens to you, know that you can absolutely get it back. You got to work a little bit, but you can absolutely get it back. And, I'm curious for those of you that have lost it in the past, or maybe those of you that are going through it right now can learn this, in the comments. Would you just let me know what it is that helped you get your spark back? Because I would love to hear your thoughts. I have tried many, many things over the years as far as like keeping an inspirational board on my Pinterest account where like I put all of these things that like I just saw it and I don't know why I love it, but I love it, right? So I would love to hear your thoughts on that. And if you want to keep this conversation going, come hang out with me in the Stitch Sister community. It is the best place for quilters connect with other quilters who just get quilting. It is a group that is of the most wonderful women quilters that you'll find, and I will leave a link down in the description down below for this as well. Come check it out, see if it's the right place for you if you are looking for a really good quilt community home. And if you haven't yet, please hit that subscribe button to follow this podcast and on my YouTube channel. You don't want to miss our next chat. We've got lots of quilting inspiration coming your way. I want to thank you for hanging out with me today, friend. It's been so nice to just sit and have a moment to talk about creativity, have a moment to talk about quilting with you. And, until next time, keep stitching, keep creating. And most of all, I want you to enjoy the process of everything you do. Let quilting be that joy in your life. So, again, I'm Christen with ICStarsQuilting.com. I'll see you soon. Bye.